UFC 300 is right around the corner, but instead of talking about that, I decided to talk about the middleweight division, which I said is the second best division. I still think it's the second best division. Actually, I might have to redo that list. Anyway, but the reason why I want to talk about the middleweight division is because there are rumors of potentially middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis fighting former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya at UFC 305, which is apparently going to be held in Perth, Australia once again, August 17th. And I have where I discovered this. I get a lot of my MMA news from Instagram. I really hate Twitter, or X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I hate going on there, so I mainly get it from like Instagram, MMA Junkie, and then I research it to confirm. But right now, these are just rumors. So this is the plan, and I know what everyone's thinking. Oh, what about Sean Strickland? He should get the rematch. We'll talk about that in a second. I just want to talk about what they're trying to do, headlining UFC 305 in Perth, Australia on August 17th. Dricus du Plessis posted something on his Instagram. I totally fucking forgot to pull that up. But he was kind of confirming the rumors, like, fuck it, I'll be Adesanya in Perth, and then I'll defend the belt, whatever, right? Anyway, Adesanya also had something to say. He said that he's also seemingly confirming the fight with Dricus in August, which is, I'll get into my opinions about that in a second. But he said he will be fighting Dricus in August, then he'll defend his belt against the winner of Khamzat versus Whitaker in December, which Dana White has confirmed is a title eliminator. So I'm assuming if that's a title eliminator, he wants to book Dricus soon. And a lot of people are calling for the Sean Strickland rematch, but unfortunately that is not true because he was apparently offered a fight against Paulo Costa, which would have been in June, as per Paulo Costa right here. But he turned it down. Apparently he didn't say no. He said how much. He wants more money, whatever. Anyway, so it would make sense for the UFC to book Robert Whitaker versus Khamzat in June, which is 2 months before the so-called fight with Adesanya and Dricus in August 17th. And then it would be a perfect turnaround. I feel like that would be a good turnaround for whoever wins this, unless it's like a super crazy war, unless someone takes a lot of damage. I feel like whoever wins, it would be a good turnaround to fight the winner of this match in December. And, keep the division moving, We like active champions here, So it would be nice for that to happen. Unfortunately, Strickland was calling for it. He said the UFC fans want me and Dricus to settle it. Dricus wants it. Obviously, Dricus wants it, but he's okay with moving on to Adesanya. He's not, losing sleep over the super close Strickland decision. And, Dana knows. He says Dana knows it. Clearly, Dana doesn't know it because they're booking this, and they're probably going to book this match, which, unfortunately, Strickland is a bigger match than you and Dricus rematching. I feel like you and Dricus rematching is a hardcore fans fight, but I feel like this is the fight that would draw, headlines, because Adesanya, unfortunately, we all hate to admit it, Adesanya is a star. He's a big name within MMA. Whether you love him or hate him, you want to watch him fight. Whether you want to see him win or lose, you just want to see Adesanya fight. He's an interesting character, especially with the whole Dricus beef, I'm the real African fighter, or whatever the fuck. I'm the African fighter of the UFC. He didn't even say I'm the real African fighter. People just kind of added that afterwards. But there's a storyline here. We want to see this. Unfortunately, I feel like that storyline is more than the Strickland and Dricus storyline. We can get that one down the line, and unfortunately, I think I will take this match over a Strickland rematch because Strickland never defended his belt. He wasn't a dominant champion. He's not as big of a name as Adesanya. Sure, Adesanya was, 1-2. He beat Pereira. No, wait. Yeah, he lost to Pereira, beat Pereira, lost to Strickland. He's 1-2 in his last 3. On paper, it doesn't seem like he deserves it. I think Strickland is ranked number 1. I think Adesanya is ranked number 2. So on the rankings, it makes more sense. Okay, Strickland, you know, it was a close fight, but he wasn't a dominant champion. It was his first title defense. He lost it. How about we give it to the next person? That makes a lot more sense than kind of just redoing the rematch. Like, sure, we all want to see the rematch. We want to see it be settled. It was very close. I personally think it was obvious for Dricus. Even if he did nothing with the takedowns, when you're looking at it, all Strickland was doing was landing the jab. As Mighty Mouse said, Dricus was more dynamic. He was throwing kicks. He was throwing more shots. He was going down with the takedowns. When striking is even, you have to look at the grappling. And we all looked at the grappling. And also, Strickland said that he got headbutt. That's what busted open his eyebrow. But there's a lot of replays that show that one of Dricus's overhand rights busted him open. And I think them kind of rubbing foreheads in the clinch kind of opened it up more. So, unfortunately, Strickland fans, they can say all you want. You can say anything you want. Dricus clearly won. I don't think it was like a dominant display by Dricus. It was very close. But close fights aren't robberies. This one didn't seem like a robbery. But I can understand why you would want the rematch because it was so close. But unfortunately, Adesanya, I know he doesn't deserve it, but he kind of deserves it. He was a dominant champ, 4 or 5 years or something like that? How many title defenses? Obviously, it would make sense. And he's kind of at that level where his name value, he can kind of just jump into a title fight. I know we hate it. We don't want Adesanya on title fights. But we'll tune in and watch anyway. And you never know. What if Adesanya wins? He could run it back with Strickland. That's an interesting storyline right there too. I feel like Adesanya being thrown in the mix just makes the middleweight division interesting again. Because, and also the whole middleweight division is moving. Robert Whittaker and Hamzat, potentially Dricus and and Dricus and Adesanya this fight, and then maybe Strickland and Paulo Costa. Maybe if Strickland, if they pay Strickland enough. I know this doesn't really make sense because Strickland's like, oh, he's the number 1 contender. He's basically in line for the title. He's kind of not really in line for the title for all the reasons I said. It was a close fight, but he never defended his belt. It was his first defense, and he lost it. You can't really give him the fucking... kind of with Robert Whittaker. But I can understand because Robert Whittaker, he got absolutely decimated. Sean Strickland was an even match. But unfortunately, I can understand why the UFC is moving forward with the Adesanya fight. It's a bigger name. It's a bigger fight. It'll draw more pay-per-views, especially in Perth, Australia. And honestly, Paulo Costa and Sean Strickland seems like a fun stylistic matchup. Sure, Paulo Costa is coming off of a loss, but he didn't look bad in there. Sure, I think it was a definitive loss. I think after round 1, Whittaker beat the brakes off of Costa. He was just kind of putting leather on him, beating his ass. But I think this is a fun stylistic matchup. I feel like this will be crazy. Paulo Costa likes to push forward. Strickland likes to push forward. And honestly, Strickland isn't really that exciting of a fighter. He's kind of like a point fighter. Not really like an Adesanya point fighter, but he goes to a lot of decisions. His last knockout was Brendan Allen on a day or 2 notice or whatever. It was a catch weight fight. But he's not really that interesting. He says oh man, I fought like a bitch. I'm going to change it with the Jared Cannonier fight. Still fights exactly the same, which is fine. It is what it is. He's very defensively in tune, and it would be nice to see him defend against Paulo Costa's explosive, constantly pushing forward style. Because Strickland isn't really the greatest counter striker like an Adesanya. If someone just charges forward, Adesanya, you could counter all day. Someone just unless you disrupt the rhythm like Strickland did. But I don't know, when Dricus was charging forward, Strickland was really just jabbing him. He wasn't doing anything crazy with the counters. So this would be interesting to see. Seeing Strickland get put on the back foot against a crazy, explosive, I'm going to throw spinning kicks at you in Paulo Costa. So I think all these fights are interesting and should happen. Dricus and Adesanya should happen because of the storyline and because it makes sense. Adesanya coming back, that's a big name coming back. You want to reward him for being a dominant champion all those years. Sure, he's 1-2. But it makes sense. If Dricus is down for it, why not book it in Perth, Australia? Robert Whittaker versus Hamza, this is already confirmed. This is a banger fight. Title limiter makes sense. I feel like Strickland should be in title contention if he were to accept this fight with Paulo Costa and then beat Paulo Costa. I feel like Strickland should be... Actually, I feel like whoever wins this should be in title contention because Strickland's up there. And Paulo Costa is like ranked number 7, 6 or 7. But if he beats Strickland, that puts him up there. And then let's say Whitaker, like you could book the Hamzat match. If Whitaker wins against Dricus or Adesanya, whoever wins the championship, there's a rematch there. There's a rematch with Adesanya. I feel like this is some like 4D fucking chess that's being played right now by the UFC. But anyway, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the weird kind of jumbled mess at the top of the middleweight division. I like the Dricus and Adesanya fight. I feel like it should happen, unfortunately, over the Strickland rematch because I feel like there's more to it than the Strickland rematch. I feel like the Strickland rematch might be more the same, but I feel like Dricus might be more improved. I could be a Dricus dick rider. You could call me whatever you want in the comments. But I feel like these fights, the middleweight division is moving. I'm excited to see Adesanya versus Dricus. I'm excited to see Robert Whitaker versus Hamzat. And I really want the Paulo Costa fight with Strickland to happen. And honestly, I wanted to talk about more fights. I wanted to talk about the Volkan Ilya rematch potentially being made. I wanted to talk about Islam and Dustin Poirier being made. But I really wanted to make this one specifically because I feel like there's a lot of mess in the middleweight division with this being rumored. Adesanya seemingly confirmed it. Dricus posting on his Instagram seemingly confirming it. This fight being announced, being a title eliminator, seemingly kicking Strickland out of the title contention. This fight potentially being the second place title eliminator after Hamzat and Robert Whitaker. So I feel like there was a lot that needed to be explained. There's a lot that needed to be talked about, and I really want to know everyone's opinions in the comments because that's really all I'm here for. I just want to start discussions. I really want to talk to people about this, what they think. You could flame me in the comments, like I said, like, oh, you're Strickland, hey, you're Dricus, Adesanya, meat rider, bro. Look, I have my fair share of complaints with Adesanya, but I feel like he deserves it, unfortunately, over Strickland. If anything, I'm more of a Robert Whitaker meat rider. That's my boy. But, you know, I just want to really just open up a discussion. And I really want to know what everyone has to say. So anyway, let me know in the comments, flame me, dislike, like, whatever you guys want to do. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And like I said, comment, flame me in the comments. I'll read all of them. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.